Well, let's talk now to Nasser Saidi, Lebanon's former economic and trade minister. Good to see you. Welcome to the programme. So, a ceasefire, in your considerable experience in this region, is it going to hold?
I don't think that's clear because you have 60 days basically of uncertainty. It is open for disruption. So we don't know yet. Of course, there's a lot of euphoria at the moment with people wanting to go back to their houses or what's left of their houses, their properties and other. So it is not clear that this ceasefire will hold. Everybody has an incentive to make it hold, but we don't have really the basis of long-term ceasefire. You need a long-term settlement. You also need to address the costs of reconstruction and the damage that has been done. Remember that Lebanon is living a polycrisis since 2019. You had the greatest financial crisis in history. Real GDP is down by about 40% since 2019 to 2023, and you probably have another 5 to 10%. I think the World Bank is underestimating the damage. My estimate of the damage is that it is going to cost Lebanon some $20 billion to rebuild everything that has been destroyed, along with the decline in real income. So what we're talking about really and fundamentally is that there are no military solutions. There are no security solutions. You need to reach a political settlement. And that is true for everybody included. So what's important, I think, in terms of Lebanon is maintain the ceasefire, start talking about reconstruction, elect your president and put an emergency cabinet in place that has the credibility and confidence of the international community so we can attract aid. Remember that Lebanon simply does not have the fiscal or other resources to rebuild. And if you don't rebuild, violence begets violence. We'll come back to another scenario in the future. So focus on the important thing. Of course, everybody wants to focus on security right now. I understand that. We need a ceasefire. Everybody needs that. People need to resettle if possible. But let's be clear. Much of the south has been devastated. Much of the southern suburbs of Beirut have been destroyed. So people don't have means of livelihood. And it's a question of how do you restore confidence and stability. I think those are the important issues.
How do you interpret the conditions, the terms of the ceasefire, particularly Hezbollah moving its weaponry north of the Litani River and the withdrawal of Israeli troops?
This has long been discussed. I mean, basically, these are the terms of 1701 that never got implemented. Of course, everything has to do with how much trust each party has with the other. But more important, the ability of the Lebanese state to play the role. The agreement, as we understand it now, calls for some 5,000 or so Lebanese army to go into the south, maintain security, maintain peace. The Lebanese army doesn't have the resources, so you're going to have to help the Lebanese army, provide it with resources, arms, ammunition, etc. But also, as well, you need political protection for that. Not only domestically, but international political protection and diplomatic protection of the Lebanese army as it goes in. So much remains on the agenda. And I think what you need to see over the next 60 days is what sort of longer-term agreement gets hammered out. We cannot return to 2006 and 1701 scenario. That cannot work.
And just a final thought, how might this fire influence the conflict in Gaza? Will it impact? It should obviously impact.
Clearly, you reduced the risks of a regional war. I think what was the overhang was a war with Iran that could impact all the region, including the GCC, energy markets, and the rest. So I think the risks of that have now come down. So will it help reach a settlement in terms of Gaza? Most likely, I think that's on the horizon. But it's a different case than that of Lebanon. What you have in Gaza and the war with Israel is a different category of war than what you have with Lebanon.
Nasser Saidi, Lebanon's former economic and trade minister, thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme. Good to see you.
Thank you.